They called it progress. And for a while, it was. But there is a moment in every civilization when the engine breaks loose from the train, when the machine keeps accelerating, but is no longer pulling anything forward. The people who lived through that moment had a name for it. They called it the Age of Excess. Those were dark times. Money was melting. Islands of trash had formed in the ocean. Mad kings wielded terror in broad daylight. It did not begin with a catastrophe. There was no earthquake, no declaration of war, no single day that people circled on a calendar and said, that is where it went wrong. It began with a gift, a device that fit in the palm of your hand. It could hold every song ever written. It could answer any question in less than a second. It could show you the face of someone you loved on the other side of the world. It was, by every measure, a miracle. And then the miracle learned to want things from you. I found something in the records that I need to show you. I found a journal in the ruins of a city on the eastern seaboard. The kind of notebook someone keeps when they are trying to understand their own life. The early entries were ordinary. Observations. The texture of a life being lived. Then the entries changed. I scrolled for 2 hours tonight, and I cannot remember a single thing I saw. A few pages later, my daughter asked me to watch her dance. I said yes. I held my phone under the table. She stopped dancing. I don't think she saw the phone. I think she saw my eyes. And then, near the end, in handwriting that had lost all its earlier care, when did the world get so loud? The journal ends there. I do not know the name of the person who wrote it. I do not know if they survived the age of excess, or if they faded. But I know this. They were describing something that millions of people were experiencing at the exact same moment. They were alone, together. And each one convinced that their exhaustion was personal, that their distraction was a weakness, that their loneliness was a failure of character. It was none of those things. I have spent years studying this period, walking through the wreckage of the old world. And what struck me most was how much was happening at once. The noise was by design. They drowned the planes in it. The taxis talked. The fridges talked. It was the sound of a civilization that had filled every pocket of quiet with content. They put a barcode on the living. Wherever something natural had been turned into a transaction, the mark appeared. On bark, on water, on skin. And the pattern I keep returning to is this. Everything that could be measured improved. The screens got sharper. The delivery got faster. The algorithms got smarter. Every metric pointed upward. And everything that could not be measured disappeared. Trust dissolved. Patience eroded. The ability to sustain a conversation longer than 3 minutes. The tolerance for complexity. The willingness to change one's mind. The capacity to sit with someone in pain without reaching for a device. The age of excess did not conquer humanity the way empires had conquered before. It did not invade. It offered. It recommended. It personalized. It optimized. They paved over all the friction to make the machine run faster. But friction is the only thing that creates warmth. With each convenience, a thread was quietly removed. The frame always held, the economy grew, the numbers climbed. But behind the numbers, one thread at a time, the tapestry came apart, until one morning, it was empty. I should tell you about the ones who profited from all of this. I found traces of them in the upper levels of the ruins. Empty suits, walking through marble corridors. But that is a story for another fire. And I should tell you about the ones who resisted. I found their marks too. Anchors scratched into door frames. Thread maps in old libraries. Those stories will come when they are ready. What I want you to carry from tonight is simpler than all of that. Somewhere in a ruined apartment, someone wrote in a journal, "When did the world get so loud?" They were asking the right question. They just did not know yet that millions of others were asking it at the same time, in the same silence, behind the same closed doors. I carry that journal the way the drift breakers carried their compasses, as a reminder. There are other things I have found after all these years of digging. Darker things, stranger things, and a few things that will surprise you with how much beauty survived. I hope you'll join for another night under the stars. The world has always belonged to attentive souls. We have plenty of time to open the registers. The fire is still burning.